And what we're trying to explain now, the next Gemara, which we'll cover today, hopefully, to Daf, is that the Mishnah says that when the ani sticks out his hand and does the full malacha of a kirvanacha, so that, or the balabais in either direction, that is the malacha of Ritzah, and he's chayiv. So the Gemara has a kasha that the Gemara assumes that we really find normally, essentially, that the malacha of Ritzah is not just moving, transferring, but it's transferring it in with certain conditions, in a certain very distinct way, where you're putting the chayfetz on a makom of what's called dalad or dalad, 4 tvachim, which means it's a makom chashuv. I put it on the table. I put it on the makom dalad or dalad. I put it on the chair. That's it. So where's the makom dalad or dalad? So the Gemara explained that maybe the Mishnah, that this is actually a controversial issue. And we find Tanoim that seem to ignore this condition. And the Gemara brings it from Rabbi Akiva that says the case, later on in Perek HaZorek, that if you throw something, there's a halacha, if you throw something from Shus HaYachid to Shus HaYachid, throw from here, from our building, our Chatzer to the neighbor's Chatzer across the street, and it goes through Shus HaRabim, Rabbi Akiva holds you chayiv, because it's as though it landed in the Shus HaRabim and then went into the Shus HaYachid. Now, that certainly cannot be considered fulfilling the condition of placed on a Mokum Dalal Dalal, and yet you're chayiv. So you see, Rabbi Akiva would not require it, and maybe that's what they're arguing about. Rabbi Akiva says you don't need it. So that was Rabbah's. That's how Rabbah wanted to answer the question in the Gemara. So now we're down on Beis. So the Gemara says, but Rav himself contemplated two different ways of learning the Gemara, the Mishnah of the Tanoim, including Mishulcha. And Rabbah said over there, maybe the pshat is it when you're throwing it below Yud, and that's a shiur, like, as we said, maybe it's considered landing. It's halachically as though it landed. Or maybe not. Maybe you threw it above. By the way, remember also, the space above 10 tvachim, above here, that's already not the space of the ground. So that's not Rosh Yeshiva. So maybe it's just a din, it's a completely different din of something we learned on the Torah, that they took the beams of the Mishkan out of that golis and passed them from one Rosh Yeshiva to the other, from one wagon to the other wagon, and that constituted a malacha, and therefore we learn from there that passing from Rosh Yeshiva to Shabbos is chayiv. So to Zorek is l'malam yud. That's where we left off. Although l'malam yud, the kuli amal afim is Odilma, the Malam Yud Pliki, what Pliki? He was somebody Afin and Zayim Moshe. So for Afin and Zayim Moshe. I'm not going to be Akal Chayev. My title, I'm reading conclude to Commission Chodam. So Hala Kasha. What's the Diboy? It's true that Rava contemplated, but in the end he said, yes, it's a Shittas of Akiva. Other issue is some Akiva include to Commission Chodam. Okay, but yet the Gemara says that would still not be sufficient to explain our Mishnah, because in our Mishnah there are two parts. One part is it's in the hand of the ani. With the hand, he takes it out and he puts it in the hand of the balabais. So maybe you see from here, Dama Hanocha to Lo Boi, but maybe Akira Boi. Maybe the Akira would require, even according to Rabbi Akiva, extracting it from a Makom Chashuv. It's in the Shus HaYachid. Take it out of the Makom Chashuv. We're here, if it's already in the hand of the Ani, so where's the Kira for the Makom Dalet? That's the assumption of the question. So we're going to look for a new source. So we're going to suggest now, right here, in the rest of this Amud, a new source. Again, that there are those that do not require Makom Daladan, and the source goes as follows. Ela Abar, Rabbi Yosef Amani, Rebbe. Hey Rebbe, it's a shita of Rebbe. Our Tana Rebbe, he has a shita, we'll see in the Brisa, that maybe says this, you don't need Dal of Dal. Tanya, the Tanya, this Rebbe says as follows. If you try to suggest it's a foul, we'll see, we're going to have a problem. It's the following Rebbe that says, Kol Shel Ziz, it's something that juts out of a building, that's a Ziz. Okay? Zor v'noch agabi ziz kol shehu. Rebbe Mechayiv. Chacham Poitri. So Rebbe says, even though it's clearly not Mokum Dar al Dal, he just threw it on Shusay Yochid, and אפשר אחר כך פה, אל תדע, תעשה כל מקום אחר, אחר כך נראה, נספיק פה, זה בסדר. I forget to speak English. Okay. So anyways, so here, again, we have the following scenario here in Rebbe. You have a neighborhood, or it's not, we're not throwing across the street here, but you're throwing from Shusar Rabin to Shusar Yochid Zork, and it noch agabi ziz. What do you have a ziz? Maybe example maybe the air conditioner. Maybe call it a ziz. Might be $1. Let's say it's less than $1, a small air conditioner. So kol shu chayiv. Rebbe Mechayiv. Come point to it. You see, you don't need mokum dal. You don't need a whole table. Okay, it's pretty big. Something smaller maybe there. A pipe sticking out. So v'cham point to it. So you see the only $1. So we're saying it's not a raya. If you say that's the raya, you can buy the name of the you can buy the raya. It's not. The case is not. Isn't really as it appears. Okay, the real case over there is talking about a tree. You have a tree. The ziz means something sticking out of a tree. It doesn't mean the building. And part of the branches of Rosh Yeshiva, and you throw something on the knife, meaning on the branches of the tree, on one branch which is not daled. So what's the argument that you're chayiv then? The Rebbe Savar meaning shadi knife b'seikro. The argument is that since the tree is really the trunk is in Rosh Yeshiva, halachically speaking, we call the tree in Rosh Yeshiva. So by throwing on the branch on top, it's as though I threw it in the Rosh Yeshiva. Shadi noifoi basa ikroi. So that's not right. So that doesn't prove anything. That's not a case of. It's not really a case where you don't have dalad. You really do have dalad because ultimately the tree is on the ground, and it is dalad. So it's not a good example of what we're trying to prove, that the hand of the ani or the balvais is a mokum of hanacha or a shiur for that matter. Zakti Gemara. So Eloha Rebbe, the following brisa of Rebbe, the Tanya, Zorak b'shusarab b'yamzit. Okay, we're going back to a similar case. You're throwing from b'shusarab, now a little bit different though. Now you're going from Rechov, Ein Ches to Rechov Elisha. Throwing from b'shusarab b'shusarab. So we did both b'shusarab. And b'shusarab b'yamzit, somebody's Chatzer is in the middle. Rebbe's Mechayim, Chacham Poitri. It goes into the Shusay Yochid, even again it's flying in the air, but it's as though halachically that it goes in, it went in, and it goes out. So you did Shusay Rabbin to Shusay Yochid, Shusay Yochid to Shusay Rabbin. You have twice. Once we're putting it out, one putting it in. So it never actually even stopped. It's flying in the air. And yet it's considered to be hanocha. So obviously the definitions of anacha have much more leeway than you thought. You don't need dalal dalal. I'm a little boy akira v'lo anacha gami dalal dalal. So you don't need that. So we have, therefore we can explain our Mishnah of the Ani. So the Gemara, Itmar Allah of Shmuel, and we're Tavayu, L'chayiv Rebbe, Ella, B'shusa Yochid Mekura. No, you misunderstood the whole story. This story is partially not true. If you stood it on Ein Ches, into Elisha, it generally wouldn't be true unless it's Mekura. Mekura meaning to say that this guy has a big enclosed repeset, he's got some covering on his repeset. He's got a patio with a covering, and he threw it like, football pass, straight through and below the covering. It's Makura. Because it's Makura, we say interesting thing. That something which is enclosed, we perceive it differently. We perceive it that, it's all one entity, and when you throw it in, it's like it's throwing it on the ground also. That's a different story. That's basic command of value. Makura lie, but that which is not makura not, and therefore this is this very specific halacha. It says it's called halacha. It did not prove anything about a shaila of dalal. So you want to say here also, maybe in our Mishnah, when it says that you put it in the balabais, well, yeah, his hand, it's inside, it's Makura. It's not in the Chatzer, it's inside his house. So that's why it's considered anacha, because it's a Makura, fine. So it's a big deal. So the Gemara says, true, that would work a little bit. But remember, the other case is that balabais takes it out and puts it in the hand of the ani, who's sticking his hand out. Birshus Harabim. It's one of the cases. One ani sticks it out. Or the other case is the Balbai sticks his hand out to Birshus Harabim and puts it in ani, right? So, you say, well, yeah, but it's Birshus Harabim, but maybe have Birshus Harabim with a covering on top, maybe, So the Lord says there is no such thing. It's a fundamental stira. Why? Is there such a thing? Or Shlomo Yehud Amar Rebbe, Amar Rav. Amar Rechef is not Amos Shus Rav Mekura Potter. He should have done the Goli Midbar. That's Potter, because that's not the Goli Midbar. In other words, that means it says follows. Where does the Torah say there's a concept of Yitzhak Shus Rav in the Midbar? It says we learn out from the Mishkan. All the malachas we learn. We're going to see in Shabbos. All the malachas we learn from the Mishkan. So too it's so. So in the Midbar, when they were in the Midbar, they had Rosh Yeshiva, where all the Machane Yisrael was all the Jewish people where they went, where they walked. That was Rosh Yeshiva. Now that Rosh Yeshiva was obviously uncovered. It was open air, and therefore by definition, any Rosh Yeshiva has to be open air. The second up in the cover is on top. Is by definition not called Rosh Yeshiva. Zokti Gemara Vayter. So again, we're back to square one. So I'm sorry. So we didn't prove the point. Is that called Rosh Yeshiva? Amar Shmuel Yehuda Amar Rav. Amar Rav Amar Chevis Anamas Rosh Yeshiva. We did. It's not time with the other. Ella Anupsha Amar Rav Zeir. Again, who says the Chayiv in the Mishnah? You don't need dalal. How many Acherim? This is the shita of the Acherim, the Tana of the Acherim, the Tana, who's quoted as follows: Tani Acherim Oimri. Again, these are Tanoim, the Acherim. The Acherim say, Omar bin Koima. Okay, here we have an interesting case. The guy stands, and the kibble, and they're playing catch or something, right? Some guy threw him a ball, and he caught it, kibble. It's chayiv. It's chayiv. He's standing, Shus Rabin, or Shus Yochid, and throws him Shus Rabin. Shus Yochid, it's Kibbutz, it's Chayav. But, Akar min Koima v'Kibbutz Potter. But if he moves, it was thrown over here, it's supposed to land here, and if he would just stood there and caught it, he would caught it. But if the Makabel left his position to go get closer and catch it, he's potter. So there it was, because everything in Shabbos has to be exactly completed as planned.
But if you caught it while standing, that's just human reflexes to stand carefully. You need to be staying in the same place.
Yeah, I don't know. For Torah, we don't necessarily take that into consideration. Human reflexes. If it's who's chayiv, by the way. Who's chayiv?
The person who doesn't move.
No, so the person who threw it is chayiv. Because it's like I'm taking it from one place, taking it out, and I'm specifically putting it in this place. Yeah. So why is it when the other guy moves to catch it, when he actively catches it, he's chayiv? No, he's not chayiv. Is because whenever you have two people do malacha, you're patur. Because that's how malacha always means that I did an action, a complete action of malacha of Shabbos. So whenever it's two people involved, which this defines involvement, so then they become patur. Okay. So that's the case so far. I'm going to keep chayiv. I'm going to keep patur. So the more analyzes, okay, 1 second. Again, it's a very similar case. He's playing catch here. It's like Donnie, he's catching with his hand. So you see that, you see that there are important shitas in Tanoim that don't agree with the catching something with your hand is a problem. So same thing in our Mishnah. So the one says no, it's true. Hanacha de lo boyinin, but still, akira be'inim, the person who threw it picked it up from a dvakum dalad. That's one. Number two, hanacha nami, to pashit kanfei v'kibla. How do you know how he caught it? We don't get, in the Mishnah at least we describe how he caught it. We don't tell you exactly what means, how he technically caught it. Maybe he has a huge baseball mitt. It's just like dal. It's like a huge, right? Or he has whatever. He has his shirt. A big jacket. He has the corners of his garment. That he pulled it out, and it's dal, and he caught it with that. We don't know how he caught it. That would constitute halacha of dalad. So this doesn't really prove our point. Our point cannot be proven from this discussion. Okay, so therefore we're going to go back to the drawing board. We're going to go back to the Mishnah and try to say a new pshat in the Mishnah. Masnisin going. Change the way we read it here a little bit. So we have to throw a new factor in the Mishnah. There's a traskel, a basket. Right? He's not just holding it in his hand from before. No, he comes with a basket. He takes it out of the basket, out of the makom dalad dalad, and he puts it in the basket of the balabayis makom dalad dalad. We'll change the case. Traskel. Was going Shaloka Bitrasko, Viniacha Gabitrasko, Dikanam Yanocha. In fact, the Gemara Shkoyach, it's a very nice suggestion, but if I'm trying to read the words of the Mishnah, L'hayodo Katani, it doesn't say Trasko, it says Yad. So the Gemara, Tni, Trasko, Shaviyodo. You're right, the Tavzog and Trasko, Shaviyodo. Hatem Trasko, Shaviyodo. El Trasko, Shaviyodo. But 1 second, but you want to say Rosh Yeshiva. But once you have a traskel, isn't a traskel a dal? It becomes an independent entity of Rishus. This is already coming. Sometimes when you have a table in Rosh Hashanah, so this becomes Rosh Hashanah itself, because it has dal and it has walls. So it's its own Rosh Hashanah. So how can you call that, if you're using a traskel, it doesn't make sense to say it's a Shus Rabbin. Traskel Shus Rabbin, which is a Yochinu. So the Gemara, in other words, so that would mean that the only way you have to explain it is to say Leiman don't Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda. So you want to be not like Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda. No, it's Kodesh Shusar Rabbim. This is Rabbi Yehuda comes and says, you go to Shusar Rabbim, you put a pole, and you put a traskal on top, you put a basket. Rosh Traskal, sorry for not Agabav Chayev, and you do Zriki Chayev. It's called putting a Shusar Yochid. The Rabbi Yosef Bar Yehuda Pasha Balabayis is Yad Lechutz wasn't Toich Yad Sha'ani. Am I Chayev? According to Rabbi Yehuda, Pasha Balabayis, the following case of our Mishnah, where the Balabayis takes his hand Lechutz and he puts into the nothing in the Yad Sha'ani. Am I Chayev? Shusay Yochid come up. According to we're saying it's the Traskal. So you should be chayiv. You're going for Shusay Yochid. So then again, so if you want to learn it's a case of Traskal, that's how you want to solve our problem. You're creating another problem. You're going against Rabbi Yosef Yehuda. So when it answers, I feel ten Rabbi Yosef Yehuda, also the Malam Yud, Hachla Matam Yud. So we have to say, Traskal. Traskal, but a Traskal above Yud. I believe it's above Yud, which changes it. Sorry, no. If it's above Yud, then it becomes its own Rishus HaYochid. If it's below Yud, then it's part of it's on the bottom. It's on the floor. It's part of Rishus HaRabim. So we can use Traskal. We can explain why it's Dal al Dal, and we have to just change our position where the Traskal is, and then we could say Traskal. That could be used as a way to explain the Mishnah, but affecting more still, we're not satisfied. Sokti Gemara. Kasha Rabbi Avoy. But Rabbi Avoy says this still doesn't make sense. Mi Katani Traskal Shel Yado Katani. I just don't believe that the Tana said Traskal. It doesn't say that. It says Yado. It says. Elam Rabbi Avoy. We have a new pshat. Another pshat in the Mishnah. It's like his hand is low. It's like, he's playing baseball. Like his hand's to the ground. He's catching it on the ground. So since his hand is on the ground, and it's like catching on the ground. The ground is Dalal Dalit, so therefore that's how you have your place of Dalal Dalit. In fact, the Gemara, it doesn't fit in so well. For Oymid Katani, but it says the Ani's standing. He's not, he's not playing baseball. He's not the catcher playing baseball, like kneeling on the ground. He's an Ani standing. So the Gemara says, B'shoicha. Yeah, okay, he's standing, but he's bending over. Or maybe he's in a pit. Very strange case, but yeah, he's like inside. He's like, I don't know, or he's on a lower, he's on a higher floor and he's putting his hand on the ground. Some type of funny change of heights in the ground somewhere when they're standing. So he's a tiny midget. He's so low, short, that he just goes like this, and his hands on the ground.
Played baseball back then?
I kind of doubt it. Look at my baseball. I'm going to be a little bit surprised. Yeah. Amar Rav. Ich botana lashmin in kohani. So Rav says, this is very strange. That's what the Tana is telling me. This funny story. He's telling me, hey, they didn't have baseball. Like, well, how do you come up with these funny ideas? It's on the ground. It is catching on the ground. Hello, Amar Rava. This is the answer. Important answer. Yadel sha'adam chashuv eloi kedalet al dalet. It's true. There's a concept you need dalet al dalet, but a person's hand is so chashuv. The hands of a person is such a davar chashuv that's dalet. The concept of halacha is you need to put it in a significant place. I put it someplace. I did it. I did a kiruv hanacha. Hand is called also. That's the chiddush. That's what they said. The hand is kidal adal. Amri Abin Amar Lo Yamri Veichana. Zar Chayfetz Menach B'Tach Yalash Al Haveirus Chayiv. Similarly, If you throw something and it falls in your friend's hand, you're chayiv. That's what you're trying to teach me? So fine, we just said that already. That's what you're trying to, he's trying to put in your hand. When you threw it in and ended up in the hand, it wasn't thought out. Maybe that wouldn't be considered. Yes, it is. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll be able to mashlim the rest of this. The next one.